Welcome to the Recycle Podcast, where we discuss everyday issues from a mental health perspective. We are your hosts, Dr. Rashonda Strickland,
Dr. LaFanya Jones-Hines,
and Dr. Nichelle Wall. Now, don't get it twisted. We're not going to be your stereotypical therapist.
What we will be is informative, down to earth, a little spicy, and vulnerable.
All right, interns, turn up your volume, grab your pen and paper. It's supervision time. As a reminder, this podcast is not meant to take the place of a relationship with a licensed mental health professional.
Welcome back to session 68, Poisoned Apples.
Poison out. Y'all want to know, huh? Y'all ready to know? Okay, interns. This session, we're going to be talking about 3 types of NPD. And all of you who listened to the last session, you know what NPD is. So We're going to be talking about the 3 types of NPD.
Okay. So we're going to take this a little bit differently. We're going to go from low, medium to high. And what we mean by that is, your standard garden variety up to the most difficult / dangerous version of the narcissist. So the low version would be the grandiose. And if you listen to last week's session, this is pretty much what we described is the textbook version of a narcissist. This is your grandiose, self-absorbed and
braggy.
The Prince Charming.
Yes. I think some of the things that we kind of maybe left out with the grandiose narcissist is their need for adventure.
Yes.
And becoming bored very easily with things and not showing interest if it's no longer self-serving.
Yes, and that's the hurtful part, because it doesn't matter what the no longer self-serving is. If it's a relationship, if it's a marriage, if it's a child, you no longer serve me no purpose, so I can distance myself from you.
Yeah, many of them are Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
Papa was a Rolling Stone.
My son.
Wherever he laid his hat was his home.
And when he died,
all he left us was alone.
See, look at y'all.
Yeah. See, we're not trying to become singers. We already have our career. Okay.
Yeah. True. So when we think about the grandiose narcissist, so we were looking at Dr. Ramani. And this is kind of like her bread and butter. She has made her career off narcissism. And one of the things she was talking about in some of the research was that the grandiose narcissists, and all of them to some extent, have what she calls the 4 C's.
Yes.
And the 4 C's are charisma, cleverness, charm, and confidence.
Boy, all of them are dangerous.
And you need to have all 4 of them in order to be a grandiose narcissist. So this is the person that's going to sweep you off your feet. They're going to charm you. And you're just going to be oh my gosh. So this is where the term love bombing comes from.
Yes.
So if you don't know what love bombing is, this is the person that just, when you meet them, they are just showering you with compliments, gifts, trips, everything that you think that you want. Emphasis on the word think.
And won't.
Exactly. Everything that you think you want, they are just, they're giving it to you, and not just 10 times. We're talking about 100 times fold, and creating like this fairy tale sense of what your life with them is going to be like. And then what eventually happens, of course, now I got to get in my bag because, it's about me and I made it about you so I could hook you. But now I got to start reeling that back a little bit. And what you find is like, oh, it was just smoke and mirrors. That's not really who you are. You a whole nother person up underneath there.
Wolf and sheep.
Oh, man. You talking about that clothing, huh? You talking about that real clothing.
Little red.
Riding hood.
For sure.
Brothers Grimm version.
You know, and then that person, whomever's, you know, kind of been under their awe, is left depleted, left
Yes.
depressed, left self-conscious.
It's so mind-boggling how the people that are in relationships with this type of person, they get bombed.
Freaked.
Yes.
Freaked.
There you go.
They get mind freaked, and it is so difficult to get them out of that mindset, because they have to unlearn that, because they start believing it.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're gonna talk about this in another session, but so we'll do a deep dive in it. But yeah, it's so unhealthy.
Yeah. And out of all of the types of narcissism, the grandiose type is probably the one that gets the most love.
Yeah.
Because initially it's just all shiny and glittery and beautiful.
I mean, it's the futures of the world.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's those type of energies. Like, everybody falls in love with him, and then everybody says, "Oh, but that ain't who you really are," even though everybody knows that's not who he really is. It's like, oh, but I can change him.
Yeah.
You know, it's that kind of thing. Like, it's super.
Yeah.
It's huge. Hence grandiose. Energy coming off of this person, and it disarms you. And by the time you realize you should have been armed, it's too late.
Yeah.
You're pregnant with number 12.
Oh, not number 12. God,
12.
my God.
Oh, imagine being the 12th baby mama. That's a hard position to be in.
I don't want to be number 12.
Don't want to be any.
I know.
I was like, zero me, please.
Of him. Of him, you know.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You know, and just similar, like with all versions of narcissism, they also are very much in the headspace of, I'll do whatever I got to do to get what I want.
Yes.
And if that includes lying to you, if that includes taking advantage of you, manipulating, controlling, you know.
Yeah. And although you may think it is about you, you have to remind yourself this is about them. It has nothing to do with you.
This song is about you.
Ooh.
Good song.
You're so vain.
Been in many horror movies.
Yes.
But it's the truth, though. You know? And once you have either used up whatever you needed to be for them, and you're no longer useful, you will likely be cut off.
And or you will keep striving to be important again, and they'll keep moving the goalpost, and you'll keep striving, and they'll keep moving it, and you'll never get to the goal.
Yeah.
You're just one of many on the hook. That's really what it is. Like, when we've talked about in past sessions about good, bad, and ugly, when we talked about relationships, these are those people that keep coming back to you. Oh, now I need something from you, so let me play up all of the greatness that you are.
And so, you know, before y'all listen to our twin flame and soulmate, I can't remember the name of it, but before y'all listen,
somebody?
Yes, are you that somebody? Before y'all listen to that episode, you would think that this was your soulmate because they keep coming back. But they keep coming back because now they need something from you.
Because remember, the thing with, again, there's a element of commonality under all of the types of narcissism. We're just going to talk about the three big ones because there are several more, but these are the big daddies. But there's an element of entitlement under all of them.
Oh, yeah.
So they believe you owe them. They expect all accolades. I mean, they truly do believe that they deserve everything. Only good, though, because this is not about, you know, you have some individuals that believe that they deserve negativity. You know, they have a very self-defeatist, you know, like I deserve because I'm such a bad person.
Yeah.
This is not that end of the spectrum. These individuals truly believe that everyone on the planet should be giving them, praising them, promoting them,
bowing down to them,
all of that.
That's the entitlement.
And y'all probably have seen this caricature in many a people over the last few years.
Man, I would say if I had to guess, and I know we're going to talk about the other two, and they have their difficulties. They do. But I think just on a surface level, these are probably, once you understand what's going on with them, probably some of the most difficult to deal with if we're talking about just, you know, garden variety, regular narcissism. Because they can be exhausting. And it's like, oh gosh, here you go again. You just gonna talk about yourself the whole time.
But they can also be fun. Because the elaborate trips, they always want to go somewhere, you know, things of that nature. They can also be fun, which is also how people get tricked and bamboozled into having this relationship with them of some sort.
You don't see my face.
You know, I've been out the dating world for a very long time.
Thank God.
So I can only live vicariously through the people around me. And I have heard a lot of dating stories about people, you know, going out on first dates or even second or third or fifth dates with people and coming to the realization like, oh, this dude or woman, because, you know,
it goes both ways.
We be out there in those streets too, is a narcissist. Now, they may not think of it in that specific term, but, you know, we can all kind of dance around what that behavior looks like. And you realize like, hold on, there's red flags popping up everywhere. The thing and we'll talk about this probably next session when we dive more into relationships with these individuals. But, you know, looking at red flags, you know, that exists for a reason. And
as Dr. Wall like to say, orange and yellow too.
Yes.
Okay.
All the colors.
Pink. You know, it's on its way. It's turning red. It's there. You just think it ain't full blown yet. You know, but we're very good at denial.
Oh, God.
And telling ourselves that something isn't what it is, even though it's glaring right in our face.
Or you can want something so bad that you just overlook everything.
And this is the easiest to happen with, I will say, the grandiose narcissist, and then the next version that we're going to talk about. The third one, it's a little bit harder, but
living on the edge.
Yeah.
Wait till you hear it.
But with the grandiose version, because it's such a story, because it's such a fantastical fantasy, it's much easier to convince yourself that it's not as bad as it is.
Yeah,
man.
Because then you start to think, you know, they're only this way with me. Because they are, you know, they have that mask on in the midst of other people. So so you start thinking it's something to do with you.
But they're in the beginning stages of it with the masses. You know, they don't need anything more from them other than admiration and being put on a pedestal. With the
trophy
intentional relationships is going to be a deeper level of that, and you're going to see more of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde situation going on.
And this makes me wonder. Now, I have not found this in my research or anything like that, but it just came to mind. When you think about the grandiose narcissist, I wonder, like, what's the difference between a young version of this and a more seasoned grandiose narcissist? And when I say young, I don't mean child, but like someone that these behaviors are just kind of, they really getting their feet wet and being a narcissist versus someone, you know, that's been acting like this for, you know, 20, 25, 30 years.
That makes me think about athletes because, you know, of course, if you're a star athlete starting in, like, I'll just say high school, you know, you get all that attention. It's all about you, especially, I'll just say like football, especially like you're the quarterback. Like, I wonder just kind of how that kind of just transfers to like being in college. Like if they don't become the quarterback, but because they have to, you know, earn their spot. and then they may get, recruited to an NFL, but maybe they don't. So it's I want that, like, that's how I can, like, the levels.
Yeah. Kind of how I look at it is it's the difference between someone who is flashy and it's a little bit more in your face at the younger level, and then the old one that's just like smooth. Like you never know you being played the whole time.
You know what? That puts me in the mind of, I just saw a clip on one of the medias about Jay-Z when he was younger in this, rap game. He had all the diamond chains, the bling, everything flashy. But now as a mature person, he's calmed down. Like, you don't see him with jewelry and flashiness and stuff like that, like, because he already earned his spot. So that puts me in the mind of that.
Now, we're not saying Jay-Z is narcissist because we're not his therapist or anything like that, but the visual representation of what I was saying.
Yeah. If we're going to go with characters to kind of, you probably wouldn't know about these characters, but you will. And for all my folks out there that watched the originals.
Yes. Oof.
Team Niklaus. But
yes, Niklaus.
But if you watched the originals, this Elijah and Niklaus to me are the young, even though they both are, we're not going to get into it, but because I'm about to go on a whole rant. Anyway, but they are both older individuals, but you can tell that one has become much more sophisticated in how they present themselves. And the other one is still erratic and emotional and intense.
I'll take it even further step. Niklaus, Elijah, Michael.
And Marcellus. Yes.
That man is fine.
We gotta, man, I wish you watched the originals.
You gonna have to watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna help your life.
What are they on? Netflix, Hulu?
It's on Netflix now.
Netflix,
okay.
yeah. Because
the show is not on the air anymore.
Okay.
It has ended, but it's started with the Vampire Diaries.
Oh, y'all know I don't watch the
But it's not horror. It's not horror in that kind of way. It's a young adult version show. So it's kind of like Twilight.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's
not
not.
It
more.
took me a long time to watch some of Twilight because I ain't know how.
Girl, no.
Yeah. No. It's light version. It ain't like
because it come on TV.
Okay.
So it wasn't like anything in depth. But no, for those who know these characters or any character when it comes to myth, they all have an air of narcissism because they've been around too dang long. They ain't got nothing else to do. They just doing random stuff.
Well, that's the idea that I'm kind of wondering is if the amount of time that you've been in this, you start to learn your craft. Like, do you become, I know we've talked about narcissism not being the most insightful, but the longer you're within it, do you learn your craft? And you learn more, more and more how to engage in your narcissistic behavior so that it is even more advantageous to you.
Yeah.
Versus when you were younger, it's emotional. It's all chaotic. Over the place. It's chaotic and it doesn't always serve you. But with each experience that you have, you learn a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more until you finally get to a point where, okay, I got this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question to ponder because it could be some truth to that.
Yeah. Because it also kind of segues me into what Grandiose, and even all of them really, because there's a vein of similarity between all the different types, but what they rely on in order to keep people hooked. That fear, intimidation, guilt, things like that. And the longer I've been dealing with people in this way, the better I am at hitting at those things in other people to keep them where I need / want them to be. Yeah, so it was just on my mind. Just wondering.
Well, we gave you 3 examples.
Okay. Dang. Grandiose. Who knew that we had that much extra? And we just talked about them for a whole hour last week.
I mean, you start talking about vampires, I can come up with a whole bunch of stuff.
That's why I said, hold on, let me bring it back before I'll know how I am about horror films and anything related to horror. So I can totally because I watched the whole thing about Lestat and yeah. So for those that don't know who Lestat is, this is part of the movie y'all will probably know the most is Interview with a Vampire, but it's a whole series of books related to these vampires. But the most known is Interview with a Vampire. So I watched the whole video about Lestat. It was real good. Sidebar. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. So one other thing that I think is important for us to make sure that we kind of hit at for narcissism, specifically for Grandiose, is they can deal with like certain things going wrong for a short period of time. But if things start going wrong in their life for an extended period of time, you are going to see a completely different version of this person. So let's say, they lose their job, then then their car get repoed, then they partner leaves them. And then, let's say they get sick or something, or some other event happens. If they start doing bad or down bad for an extended period of time, you will see them flip from being very grandiose and arrogant and all of this stuff to slowly become more a victim.
And it can look like remorse.
And it ain't.
No. So a lot of woe is me. I can't believe this is happening to me. But if you hear and you listen, there's still an element of entitlement to it. I can't believe this is happening to me. I don't deserve this, all that kind of stuff. Because even then, it's still difficult for them to just get outside of themselves and see like, okay, these are circumstances that are happening, but it's not specifically about you. I mean, it could, asterisk, but it doesn't always mean that it is. Yeah. So, y'all have any lingering thoughts about the grandiose type?
Not really. I mean, it's the most common. It's the one that people know the most or see the most of. The next one is a lot more nuanced and people don't even realize what's happening to them. And then the last one is just watch out.
Yeah. So speaking of the next one, oh man, this one right here. So I wish I could apologize to this person, but I'm not.
Apologize to this man.
Yeah, except for this person's a woman. Because when I first heard this term, they brought it up to me and I was like, what? So they asked me, had I ever heard of a vulnerable narcissist? And I was like, a what? And they were like, a vulnerable narcissist. And I was like, no. What do you mean? Like, I said, that's an oxymoron. What do you mean a vulnerable narcissist? This one is also called covert. So these terms are kind of used interchangeably for this type of narcissism. But then I had to go, well, you know what? Maybe I need to go get educated on some stuff because I had never heard this term and it just seemed like it didn't even make any sense to me. But then you go and you start doing some research
and it's there.
Man,
they're there.
And it is glaringly obvious, like, yes, that is narcissism. It's just a whole different ballgame on how it looks. So with covert narcissism, this is somebody that is going to be present as anxious, sullen, resentful. They may even look a little bit depressed, kind of like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh.
Woe is me.
Why bother?
There's a passive self-importance.
Yes.
They look shy.
Shy brother.
They do. A lot of people end up being in relationships with them, and this can be romantic, friends, whatever, because they feel sorry for the vulnerable or covert narcissist because initially they look so sad and they look so pitiful. And it's like, oh, come here, you little broken little bird, because they gonna hit the rescuers hard. Hard. Yeah. I mean, it's like the crosshairs and they see you, and this, y'all ever seen like the movies like where it's like robots and they have like the little computer stuff on the side? Yes. That's rescuers and the covert narcissist. I mean, they just like got him. So if you are someone that tends to rescue or save people, you're going to see them and think that they're either a damsel in distress or that they're this broken little, damaged little bird, and I need to caretake you and, and nurse you back to health. And the whole time, they over there doing the bird man, like
rubbing them hands,
like, yeah, okay,
I got you, man.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is they're also pretty needy as well.
Lord have
and
mercy.
Again, if you're someone that likes to be needed, wants to be needed, they are just hitting every single part of you that is going to engage in that unhealthy behavior.
Yeah.
Man, there's so much. I don't even know where to go. There's so much about covert.
So they are definitely sensitive to criticism. Dr. Strickland gave an example in the last session of like just even wiping something off of their outfit or shirt or something like that and thinking that it's just the end of the world.
Yeah. I think the important part with covert narcissism is that they tend to give themselves backhanded compliments or purposely minimize their accomplishments for you to big them up and to reassure them. Like it's reverse psychology is what it is.
Yeah. It's very backdoor. So an example of kind of like that backdoor way of getting kindness or reassurance from a person. So they may say something like, man, it would be nice if I had such and such and such and such, or I wish I was like insert person.
And they're the ones that have those awkward silences. Like, I read that book, but I guess nobody cares. And it's like, wait, what?
Because they're fishing.
Yes.
They're fishing. They're waiting for the like, no, of course you are. No,
I'm just going to be looking at you like, man, you should get a therapist. If you feel like that.
It's so much going on in the world right now, and we could all use some extra support. At Balance Beacon, we offer counseling services for individuals, couples, families, and groups. If you're in Texas, give us a call at 214-396-6503 or visit our website at www.balancebeacon.com for more information. They have a very victimized self-centeredness. Everything happens to them. It's not their fault. They will rarely, as with all versions of narcissism, but this one is going to be much more apparent. They are rarely ever going to take responsibility for something that they did.
No. And in fact, they tend to blame and shame you.
And they're passive aggressive.
Yeah, I was listening to a video about this, and one of the examples they gave was like, if your child, let's say you have a covert narcissistic parent and the child wins some award, and because the parent can't stand the fact that the attention is not on them, they'll say something like, well, you're still part of this family, that don't make you better than nobody else.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay.
Who even thought that other than you, ma'am?
Or even they would even say something like, I was supposed to win that award when I was your age, but nobody recognized me.
They gave it to, Johnny Buffet over there. Something. I don't know. Everything is, the world happens to them. It's not that they are an active part of the world or that they are active in their own misery. It's that the world is, they have an external locus of control. Everything happens to me. But my entitlement says it's your responsibility to fix it for me, though.
Yep.
Which is, again, getting mind freaked because they hit on the rescuers, and the rescuers are like, oh, yeah, I got that. And the whole time they just over there inside crumbling because the pressure of doing that for another person is a lot.
Yeah. I think another part that is extremely important in the covert is procrastination and disregard of self.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they are going to find a way for you to help them do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you definitely, if you're going to be in a relationship with a narcissist, you have to have your boundaries on lock. So if you're supposed to do X, Y, and Z, and they were supposed to do it by 10 o'clock, you sit there and you keep waiting.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple right now, and I was like, well, y'all just might not have no electricity this month. Go stay with your mama.
It be like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I can't wait to ask y'all my question at the end.
But it's hard. Like, whew, they can hold out. Now, I will say this the group.
They are the most. Yeah. So while Grandiose is difficult to deal with because the exhaustion of the like, oh my God, here you go again. With the like, I don't want to listen to you talk about yourself and you just, the covert though. They are the most difficult to deal with because it is so draining.
Yes.
They are energy zappers. They are
the vampires.
Emotional leeches.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. And I'm saying this because I've dealt with this particular type of narcissist. Like, you will be trying to get them to see you the whole time. That disregard, they not acknowledging you. We were supposed to go out to dinner. I'm just going to leave you on red.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, they give you the silent treatment real quick.
And then come back. How you doing?
Like they ain't just did
You
it.
know you the love of my life. Am I really?
And see, that mind freak.
Mm-hmm.
Confusion. That's that's in all the narcissisms is that confusion. Am I seeing this right? Am I okay? I was tripping. No, ma'am, you weren't. Or no, sir, you weren't.
No. Another thing with them is this kind of goes with the arrogance. This would be umbrellaed up underneath of there, because please don't get it twisted that just because this person presents as sullen and all these other things, that they are not arrogant. Mm-hmm. But their arrogant will look very self-righteous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I can do no wrong, but everybody else does.
Mm-hmm.
And they will minimize if they happen to do something wrong, because it's not that these people are not intelligent and don't know that they've done something wrong or hurtful, but I will minimize my contribution to whatever that wrongness was, and I will maximize your contribution. So lots of blame shifting will happen with the covert narcissist. And if you don't know what blame shifting is if I bring an issue up to you, you go, well, what about you? Well, when you did, well, how come how come we're not talking about you? And when you did X, Y, Z, or when you said blah, 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 blah.
Because it's not your turn. That's why we're not talking about it. It's my turn. Another important part of that is the emotional neglect that goes in a covert narcissist. Because when I say checked out, these jokers is what is an emotion? Even the emotions that they are displaying to you are not real. They have another underlying reason for them to be presented. They are the coldness.
Yeah, there is a coldness that comes with the covert. And we'll talk more about this in depth when we go into being in a relationship with somebody in these three types, but you will feel alone.
Yeah,
a lot of times
you're doing the heavy lifting in the relationship,
the work,
everything,
the work of maintaining the relationship.
You're not getting no compliments. It's just it's a body.
For the covert NPD, it's the audacity.
Okay, it is, and because they believe it's true. They don't expect anything other than your unwavering, undying devotion and assistance in anything and everything
at the expense of you.
You will often see these individuals in a parentified relationship with their significant other, and not in the kink version. We're talking about unhealthy version.
Yeah, this one can lead to the distressed spouse and the, what you can call Peter Pan syndrome. And Peter Pan syndrome is, I just never want to grow up and I just want everybody to take care of me and it is what it is. And then you cause the distressed partner to then have to pick up the slack for you or for them.
But then they don't like being controlled either.
No. Which is what it's hard to tap dance. This one is a relationship of tap dancing, really. Because again, there's still a sense of arrogance and entitlement that is ever present here. Don't get caught up by the presentation. Like that's just the package that they present with. The Grandiose presents with the nice, pretty, done up, this the package that you went. You remember back in the day when Dillard's used to wrap packages with people?
Oh, yeah.
That's the Grandiose Narcissist. The Covert Narcissist is, I just threw it in, I just left it in a shopping bag.
I need you to do it for me. Because that's not my responsibility to wash my dish.
Right. So, don't be caught up by the package that they present, because at the end of the day, the same gift is inside the box. Now, when we get to the third type, now the gift that might be in the box is probably not the gift that you thought it was
at all.
It's going to be something real
You about
hurtful.
To see the other side of the veil.
Another thing about covert narcissists is that they can be very judgmental and opinionated. They gotta
never lie.
Yeah, they gotta say something about everything and everybody, and they can be nihilistic or cynical, pessimistic, all of those, because it's always bad. This is more than glass half empty. It's more than that.
Yeah.
It's like there is no glass.
So the water is just being poured on the countertop.
Basically. And like, why are you doing this to me? I can't believe that you would pour water on the countertop like this. You just want to hurt me. Is that what it is?
And you looking at them because they got the glass in their hand.
Yes.
And you just be like, okay, Bob. And then go on about your business.
No. But see, some people be like, well, did I pour the water?
You did. And I was there watching you while you did it.
But I don't remember pouring the water.
I don't know why.
I see it. You don't see it?
Gaslighting 101. So, they're going to be master manipulators as well. Again, do not be fooled with the man. What is it? The man behind the curtain. Or there's a man behind the curtain here.
The wizard.
The wizard. Hint the name of the last session, the puppet master. These individuals are, oh my God, they're so exhausting. And having somebody in therapy that is a covert narcissist,
they have to be the last person that you see, because after that you will have no more energy.
Y'all, this was a few weeks back, and in that particular couple, this individual was like, well, can you tell me why I should read this book? Because I don't see the importance of what they are saying. And I just had to ask this individual, so are you now the expert on this? Why are you coming? If you are the expert on this.
Yeah.
And that's not me. I'm saying like the book I was having the individual read. Well, it just doesn't resonate with me. I said, you haven't read it, so how do you know?
Because I know.
Okay.
I can tell by the cover of it.
And I had a shirt on yesterday and it said, and how is that working for you? Because it's not. And I always tell them, give me the proof. I need you to prove it or disprove it. In fact, give me both.
Yeah.
We're not just going to go off of what you want me to hear. And then they normally get it together.
Well, and I think that's one of the difficult things about either being with or working with. And when I say working with, this could even be coworker relationships. One of the difficult things about dealing with somebody that has this particular version of narcissism, because it throws you off your game, especially once you realize what's happening And if you haven't developed the skills on how to deal with this type of narcissism or any type of narcissism at that, you are so thrown off.
Mm-hmm.
And it can lead you to becoming aggressive or angry, bitter. You know, it can lead you to behaving in ways that is unlike yourself.
That is so true because, you know, y'all know where I used to work at. That is exactly how I started feeling to the point like I would just say anything in the staff meeting. It didn't even matter. I had no filter no more. I mean, y'all know I'm pretty blunt anyway, but I was real blunt.
Yeah. Because once you have broken down a person, you know, to their base element, where am I going to go from here? Now that I know what's going on and the veil is open and I can see, you know, what I'm experiencing, the other person now they feel like they got to fight to get out.
Right. Because I refuse to let you treat me like that anymore.
But if you haven't learned how to fight fair, it's going to get ugly.
I got transferred.
And they gonna win if you don't know how to do it.
Because they can flip on you now.
Oh, yeah.
This ain't just because they present this very like, you know, kind of mild, they seemingly are mild-mannered and very kind of like low-key. If need be, they will flip on you.
And they typically have very explosive rage.
Because the whole thing with narcissism is not losing.
And being in control.
And if I feel that slipping out of my fingers, then I have to find and fight as tooth and nail to get it back. And that often looks very volatile.
And scary. It looks scary. Like you can see the rage in their eyes.
Oh yeah. So if you're a highly sensitive person, an empath, you know, any of those versions, a rescuer, be very careful about the energy that you attract, because you are going to be a magnet for this and the next type.
You see how she read me for filth?
The thing here though, because this is one that I have done a lot of research on, so I'm trying not to go too far to the left because you could do a whole
Deep
month
dive,
on just covert. But one of the really difficult things is when two of them get together.
Oh Lord.
Oh
yeah,
that part.
Yeah,
I almost had to cancel it. I said, you know, y'all are outside of what I know how to do, so I'm gonna refer you. Nope.
Yeah. When two of these get together, it can be bad. It can be really bad.
Y'all should see my face looks disgusted. I feel like it looks disgusted.
Because please know, it does happen.
Yes.
Narcissists do attract one another. You this third type doesn't usually attract other narcissists.
Oh no.
But the grandiose and the covert, you know, them two, they can definitely
be magnets for each other.
They can be magnets for each other because
Wreck-It Ralph.
There you go. That sense of entitlement, and what happens is they both love bomb each other in their own specific types of ways based off of their own version of narcissism. And then they get into this weird dance because they're both narcissistic. So I want to win. No, I want to win. No, I want to win. And then explosion.
It's like two bulls.
In a china cabinet.
Oh yeah. But I did, you know, want to segue into, since we were talking about hurtful and how the covert narcissist is hurtful. With that said, probably the most difficult and or dangerous version of narcissism is the malignant narcissist.
Yeah, this one right here, y'all, pay attention because this is the most scary.
Yeah, this one is a scary person because this one is what people think a psychopath is. Now, it's not to say that a malignant narcissist cannot have, psychopathy, but it doesn't mean that a psychopath is a malignant narcissist.
Yeah, they are not always one and the same.
Yeah.
But they are definitely very close together. The malignant narcissist, this person is hurtful actively. Like, they do not care. it is all about me under all circumstances. Like there is literally no concern about you under any circumstances.
And it's scary because they can be charming. They can lure you. They can lure you in, and before you know it, now you see all of this what Dr. Strickland just described.
Typically, when you have the extreme of, I mean, this is already an extreme, but when you have the extreme of this version of narcissism, this is where you have to go into protective custody. And you have to like escape the situation. Like these,
like at night.
Yeah.
You pack everything up, you vanish, you are no longer who you are.
Yeah.
Because their level of obsession with winning, their level of obsession with power, control,
paranoia
is unmatched. And you will not win. I mean, I hate to be that absolutist about it, but the likelihood of you winning is pretty low.
Yeah.
If you don't catch this very early.
I mean, you really can't even have a conversation with this type of person, you know, to just have a regular conversation, y'all, you know, kind of just talking about things that bother you, about the relationship or about the house or about because they can't accept any type of criticism.
None.
No, you can be talking about yourself. That's not how you are. Okay. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And it could be literally the most benign, like meaningless thing under the sun. It could be like, oh, you got a scuff on your shoe right there.
And they'll lash
What you mean I got a scuff on my shoe? What you trying to...
Yep.
Hold on, wait. Hold on. I just was... I didn't mean it like that. Now, what you trying to say? What you trying to say?
I don't dress nice. You don't like the way I look. Nobody said any of that.
But that's what they heard.
Yes.
Yep.
So this is the type of narcissist you have to be very careful if you're going to be with this person. I would hope not. But if you choose that, you have to be extremely careful on what you say, how you say it, because remember we said in the previous session, narcissists are observant. And he or she has already pegged you long before you even thought that they were even looking your direction.
Yep.
And has sized you up on, okay, so you're an easy target. No, you're not going to be one. You're too difficult. And you will be chosen.
Yeah. They groom.
Yes.
Well.
Yes. And they like to take advantage of other people. So it's like those CEOs of company or owners of companies, and they say just what they need to say in order to get the contract, in order to get the business, in order to buy the business. It almost kind of reminds me, even though this wasn't him, it almost kind of reminds me of the man in Pretty Woman. He was buying those companies. And he said what he needed. I know, I can't remember his name, but he was
Richard Gere.
Yes.
Greer.
Yeah, that
Gere.
one. He was buying the companies, and you know, he did what he needed to do and to, you know, get the business. And it wasn't until he met Julia Roberts that he had a conscience. I mean, so that's not malignant, but it still is a higher level of that.
Oh yeah. I mean, because the malignant, they don't have a conscience.
Right. And
like
you can't get them to get one.
There is no, like, empathy does not exist. Now, the thing here is they will understand empathy on a logical, intellectual level. So if you give them the definition of what empathy is, yes, they can tell you what it is, but to experience and feel that, the malignant narcissist is not going to feel empathy. They will know how to mimic and mirror empathy because they are observant. So they know what behaviors are supposed to go with what situation
And what they need to say with what situation.
but
In what situation.
but feeling it, nah, they'll be able to turn those tears off instantly
If they have tears.
if they have tears. You know, this is the, like, when people in movies or whatnot, you see the person like hugging someone, they're crying, but then when the camera pans to them and then they just stop all of a sudden.
It's like that thing that was going on the clock app, Tick of Talks, where all of the Caucasian women were doing that thing
Cry
where
challenge.
they cried, and then all of a sudden when it gets to a certain part of the song, they turn it off. And I'm like, y'all don't think that that's
Scary and dangerous.
scary, and it's steeped in American culture.
Yeah. Yeah, that was.
I couldn't even watch it.
That was a
I was like,
one.
I can't. Don't post this no more on my feed because I cannot watch this because the amount of people who have gotten caught up in a situation that they weren't actually in because of some tears. No.
You know, the malignant narcissist oftentimes gets confused with psychopathy because of that lack of empathy. But one of the major differences is that they can understand empathy. They may not feel it, but they understand it. Versus psychopathy, there's literally no concept of what that is. Even on like an intellectual level, it's like, no, I don't.
I should be able to stab you and you'll be all right. And
literally,
why is everybody mad?
Yeah.
Like it made sense.
They are very black and white. You are either their friend or you're not. Like and you're their friend. They are never yours.
Yes. So if you are dealing with this type of person, I mean, hats off and good luck to you, I say. Because they are ruthless. I mean, that's just the best way to describe them. Yeah. You know, everything about them is the pursuit of me. All things me in whatever capacity I need to get there. Lie, cheat, steal,
unalive.
That too, on the more extreme end, maim.
Because they can't lose. They have to win.
Yeah.
I don't know why the Wiz is in my head. Michael Jackson. I can't win.
Yeah. So if we were gonna go with a movie version of this, like Wolf of Wall Street, would be a good version of this.
Michael Ealy, where he played the killer with
Sanaa
Lathan.
I can't remember the name of the movie, but yes.
Perfect. Perfect example. I can't watch that because my spirit be bad because Morris don't make it, but that's a good example. And Michael Ealy, if you ever listen to this, can you not play no more characters like that because you play them too well. You dropping kids off the side of the building.
Don't do that no more.
You're hurting other.
It's too much.
Yeah,
too much for the spirit.
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
I don't want to put him in my cabinet of I can't watch you anymore.
I know. So can you stop that, please? But for them to be the last one that we're talking about, and they're the simplest but the most difficult.
Oh yeah.
Because there really is not much else to them other than
just to say they scary.
Yeah.
Well, there's an element of sadism in them that is not in the other ones. Not saying that it's not there, but the level, the aggression, the sadism, the paranoia. What you say? Nothing. Like when I say the level of abuse, that is in this particular, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah, you will be taken advantage of, and you will be used and abused, either. Definitely emotionally. I mean, that's a given.
That's the minimum.
Yeah. But, if not physically, if not financially.
These are not people to have children with.
No.
Sassy time, because, we try to edit ourselves. Sassy time, you will be taken advantage of as well.
Yes. And you need to be on birth control.
Really just don't deal with these people. And I hate to even say that as a clinician because you never want to, quote unquote, throw someone away. But these people will actively separate themselves from other people. Like you ain't got to worry about throwing them away because they done threw you away already.
Yeah, but you know what? That's why a lot of them, not a lot of them, I guess a good number of them become cult leaders. Because then they can they have all the control. Everybody is, catering to them. It's all about them.
And then the cult gone. They alive, but the cult is gone. And he's a little bit more grandiose than Malignant, but a character / a real person this reminds me of is Ike Turner.
May he rest in peace.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I could see that, about the pursuit of power, recognition, stardom, fame.
I would even say Joe Jackson too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not to this level, the Malignant, but he is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
but position of power,
and it's relentless. That's the thing with the Malignant. It's relentless pursuit of power, and relentless pursuit of recognition and achievement. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not like, oh, I'm just a high achiever. No, it is I will be not on this planet in my attempts to achieve greatness that I believe. Regardless of whether they have the skill to be great, the knowledge to be great, the talent to be great.
No, they tend to be very intellectual, though.
Yes.
This level of sorcery that is within them.
But they may not have the means or the ability to get to that level.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So all of that doesn't matter to them because in my mind, I'm going to use what I got to get what I want.
They're going to use everybody's everything.
Mm-hmm. So you have to be very aware when you're dealing with somebody. If you feel that like, and this is one of the reasons when I'm working with some of my clients, I talk about, are you being observant of what you feel and what you're experiencing with another person? If you are not paying attention to what you are experiencing, then you will stay in an unhealthy situation much longer than you probably need to be there. Because it's very easy, and we talked about this before in previous sessions and in this one, that denial is a hell of a drug. And it is so easy and instantaneous that you don't even realize that you've gone into denial. You just do it. So you have to be conscious and intentional about what you're doing and who you're being with.
Now, there's an undercurrent in relationships like this. What it looks like on the outside is totally different than what it feels like. Or if you feel kind of off kilter all the time, that's also probably a good indication that some form of narcissism is going on.
And I'm going to just say this little piece, we're going to save it for the next one. But if you have that element of always having to rescue them or enable them, that is an indicator as well.
Or defend them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
I get to ask my question now?
Absolutely. Go right on ahead, Dr. Jones-Hines.
Okay, so I did not ask the question in the beginning because I wanted us to go through all of them, all of the different patterns, and then ask. So I got this question from Med Circle that they asked Dr. Romani. Out of the three, which one would you date? And it got to be one.
Which one would I date currently out of the three, or which one have I dated?
Ooh, I can't stand you for asking me questions when I ask you questions.
Hey, I like
both.
clarity.
I know, right?
Answer both of them.
Let's say, which one would you date now?
It would probably be Grandiose, because they're going to be the fun option. At this stage of life, I'm not taking care of nobody. So that Covert, you're going to be out there by yourself. I just don't have the energy. And my spidey senses don't do well with Malignant Narcissists at all. It's a trauma response. You know, not to tell all my business, but it's a trauma response. So I don't do well. So probably the only one would have to be the fun one.
Yeah.
And then we just dating. We went out to eat. We went to the movies. We went to a game or something. But you ain't gonna ever be my husband.
Okay.
Yeah, Malignant for sure. Not no. Because I think that they would bring something out of me that I would
That part.
Right. That I would not want. I want that locked away.
Yeah. And we don't bail each other out. We just put money on the books.
Right. So I would want that part of me to stay locked away. Covert. So while I would date the grandiose, if I had to choose one, I probably would end up with a covert. Because
that's the one I ended up with.
Because I think that version would be attracted to me versus the grandiose type. But if I was going to choose one of the three, it would be the grandiose.
Yeah, I'm the same because y'all already know.
So,
the dude.
So, of course, y'all know I wouldn't do malignant because we would kill each other.
Unalive.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes, we would unalive each other
real quick.
Yes. The covert, I can't, because I'm an optimistic person. Like I would feel like they were dragging me down.
It would be getting on your nerves. Just say it like it is.
Yeah. So it would have to be the grandiose person. And I could actually see myself, I probably could have married a grandiose person because I do like, you know, y'all know I like to dress flamboyant. I like jewelry, you know, things of that. Like, so I would be a person that would attract me.
Them.
Yeah. And attract them. Yes. Because that's the type of stuff that I like.
Yeah.
You know, I like, you know, fancy cars and stuff like that. That's just what I like. So I could have probably married a grandiose. Now, would we have ended up in divorce? Probably.
I would say a lot of narcissists probably end up in divorce eventually. Now, some of the versions, and we'll talk about that when we discuss relationships, last a long time. So it's not covert. Yeah, it's not to say that they you know, it's a like a match and just like. No, some of these can last. It's like a candle. It can last a long, slow burn.
Yeah, decades.
Yeah. These are people like they've been married 40 years, and then you know what? I'm done. I can't do it no more. It's like, wait, but y'all been married 45 years,
and I haven't been able to stand him for 45 years
or 60 years.
Well, you know what?
People divorcing in their 70s and 80s.
Yeah,
you know what it is death by 1,000 cuts.
Yes. It is.
That is the most common reason, but. People just get to a place I can't take any more of this.
Just little stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And yeah.
When you find yourself having conversations with yourself about what they did, it's time to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the second version of that question, for sure, have dated malignant, covert. I don't think I've ever dated a grandiose narcissist, but for sure. 100% malignant and covert. But I don't think I dated a grandiose person.
Yeah, my twin flame was covert.
Yeah, I've dated.
Why she rolled her eyes for me. Dr. Strickland didn't like what I said.
No. I think mine was a mix.
A combo.
Yeah, combo, covert and malignant. Because that person was never like really down on themselves, but they did have a like woe is me, you know, gray filter to the world. But it wasn't necessarily like I'm bad and I'm horrible and it wasn't like that. But it was like, oh, the world is so hard. Oh, they trying to, you know, keep the man down. And, you know, it was like that versus like, you know, something specific about them. And then on the flip side of that, you know, the lights, the switch would be like click, click, and the malignant would come out of nowhere.
And you just got to remember that passive aggressive ain't always that they down in them.
Yeah, that is true.
Gotta be on your P's and Q's out here, people.
Gotta shake and bake.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Did you have another question? Oh, so I was going to say, you know, if you ladies didn't have any kind of final thoughts about this, but I did want to let you guys know that we have not talked about how to deal with narcissists, but we will be discussing that in the next session that's going to go over being in a relationship with these individuals. So we've spent the last 2 sessions kind of explaining to you guys what narcissists are, how they look. And then next one, we'll do a deep dive on, you know, being raised by a narcissist, being with a narcissist, and how you deal with a narcissist, to kind of give you a complete rounded package for all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So you all know we always end with a quote, and that quote is going to be read by Dr. Strickland.
Oh, let's see how I get it out this week, because I fumbled that last one. Okay, so this one is brought to you by Steve Maraboli. A narcissist is someone who sticks their head up their own ass, then blames you for the smell.
That is hilarious.
Must be his volume control.
So, okay, interns, process your notes. Be sure to catch us next session and find us on all major platforms at the Recycled Podcast.
If you're a new intern, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share.
Thanks for listening. And remember, we are shifting and reshaping our psyche through healing conversations and connections, one discussion at a time.